We've got tips and recipes for healthy living. So for fun and inspiration, come and join us in the raw food world.
Welcome everybody, this is Matt Monarch and Dave the raw food truck driver. Coming at you in Vilcabamba, Ecuador.
Yes, we do, and I have a surprise question for Matt. This is so much fun. I get to ask Matt a question now, right on. I've known you for over a year, and I've never seen your hair like this. So you should explain to everybody why your hair looks like this, because it's probably the first time in a year that this has happened.
It's true. I had to wash my hair.
That's the whole story, folks. You washed his hair. No.
I have to take a picture.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, a headshot, so I have to wash my hair. I'm going to do it tomorrow once it's more dry. And
got it. Right on.
All right.
Right on. So, okay. Matt Monarch, let it never be said he never washes his hair.
That's right. Okay, so now it's my turn.
Now it's Matt's turn. I'm always kind of leery now about his questions, you know.
Okay. I thought we could talk about social issues.
Okay.
That people
that
run
sounds
into.
good.
Yeah.
That does sound good, yeah. That really, social issues are, it's big, especially when you're in that conversion stage of going to raw or experimenting with some veganism. Just cutting meat out in some families is horrendous. My brother Pat, I mean, the poor guy, he was raw organic vegan, and we were at a family reunion, and I just laid into him. You are a converter. You eat meat. You must not. You are the world's biggest pussy. This was in the 80s, you know. And I just laid into him. And the poor guy is no longer a raw organic vegan. Nor has he told me he ever will be. And I've gone back and asked his forgiveness and apologized to him. But social issues are huge, as are family issues, you know.
Right, yeah,
Absolutely.
totally. Yeah, I mean, me personally, my friends and family, when I went raw, thought I was crazy, and I kind of went on my own, you know.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have to admit, in the beginning, my family thought I was crazy. When they saw me lose the 100 pounds or 98 pounds in 90 days, then everybody was kind of like, wow, okay, cool, just don't hurt yourself, because I was losing the weight so fast that people were then, I mean, social issues, this is perfect. 3 of my closest truck driving buddies threw an intervention for me to get off of raw, because they were so convinced that after the first 90 days, losing 98 pounds, that I was going to die, and from losing the weight so quickly. Also, it wasn't normal. So where's my end here? Here we go. It wasn't normal. So what they did was they, because I wasn't coming to the bar anymore, I wasn't chasing tail with them anymore, I wasn't eating the beef ribs. You know, we used to hang out at the Auburn, there's I forget what it's called, Longhorn, our barbecue place. Hey, that's really cool. Almost 4 years I've forgotten the names of some of these places, right? But I was no longer doing that. And they missed me, and they were concerned about it. I didn't look at it that way. Let me tell you, I was so into raw organic veganism, especially around the time that this was a little bit later, but I had discovered that I had cancer and was trying to reverse that. And so they said they were throwing a party for me, and I walk in, and you know, there's all my friends plus one of their brothers who was a doctor, and they're going, Dave, everybody's so solemn, you know. It's like, we just want you to know that we really, really, you know, consider you a deep friend. People don't tell each other they love each other in the trucking industry, trust me. But, well, most. My friends certainly did not, nor did I. But they just told me that they were concerned for me, and then they introduced his brother, who was a doctor, and he's telling me all this stuff, and I asked him, you know, what do you practice within your medical profession? What type of doctor, you know, do you specialize as? And he was a podiatrist, and I'm literally looking at my feet thinking I could probably lose a few ounces around the ankles, you know. I mean, it was so insane. And at that point in time, I was also looking into, I was doing sungazing, you know, and I wanted to try and see if this breatharian stuff was real or not. And so I was doing the sungazing, and I literally told these guys, I said, well, guys, here's where I'm going. I'm raw organic vegan. I know that this works, and I know that it's the most powerful thing I've ever experienced in my body from a nutritive point of view. And I just told them straight up, right now I'm looking into the sun. I'm at about 20 minutes or whatever it was. I think it was 20 or 21 minutes staring into the sun. And eventually I was going to experiment with not eating any food. And I still believe to this day I will reach that point. If it's not out there, I'll let you all know. You know what I'm saying? But if it's out there also, I want to find it and experience it. But just for a short-term basis, because I love food too much. I love eating. I love food, and I love the taste of food. And I should probably clarify that a little bit. After almost 4 years, what I love is the explosion of the tastes in the food. I no longer enjoy gorging myself until I'm overstuffed. Things like that I don't enjoy at all. But I still have a true love for food. So I just told these guys that's where I'm going, and if you want to come with me, you can. And I'm going to go outside this door, and I'm going to stand there for 5 minutes and wait, and anybody who wants to come with me can. And if not, you know, I'm out of here. And I literally waited outside on the front porch for 5 minutes, and then I left, and I had a distinct knowing that my entire life was changing from this point forward. It was simply changing because socially, you know, Dave and you did explain to me, well, go with your family when you have something and have a salad. Even if it's not organic, just, you know, eat with the people. But for me, I couldn't do that. For me, it was I had to change. So I was not going into any restaurants. I was not going into any place with cooked food, any place that the smell would affect me. Literally, it was so bad for me during the first year that I would walk past a pizza joint, and I would literally be in craving for 2 days for a pizza.
Wow.
It would take that much. So I really learned, like, instead of, I wouldn't even go in at the truck stops. I had an automatic pay for the fuel through my company. So I would not even go into the bathroom to go to the bathroom at a truck stop because there's always cooked food. I'd have to walk. If you look at the way that these guys strategize this, to get to the bathroom, you're walking through all their food section, the convenience store. Every one of them. I've never seen anybody that has a bathroom where you don't have to walk through their food section to buy something. It's called impulse buying. And let me tell you, at 430 pounds, I was one of their best customers. You know what I'm saying?
Can you walk past a pizza joint now without a problem?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the other day down in Villa Camama, down at the town square, someone was cooking a pizza, and I just stopped for about 5 minutes and enjoyed the smell of it. And was like, wow, you know, that smells so good, but I know for me it's poison in my body, and there's no way I'm putting cheese in my body. If you understood, you might as well be friggin' just biting off some Elmer's glue and putting it in your body. I mean, cheese is that horrendous for you. It really, truly is. Yeah, so there's a whole different people change in different ways. It's just what I had to do with my body. And you know, I love my family, and I'm very close to my family, and my family's still very close with me. So it just took a period of time for people to accept this in my family. And everybody in my family was actually, again, once I lost 98 pounds in 90 days, 3 months, they were like, well, whatever you do, we keep going. Pardon me. Which is what the doctors were saying also. Whatever you're doing, keep going. As a matter of fact, you'll always get this answer from a doctor. I believe they're trained in it. I haven't had a doctor tell me this, but there are so many people, and they come back after they go through, when I coach them, and they go through a 30, 60, 90-day juice feast. I ask people if they can afford it to go get their blood completely tested before they start. And at the end of it, it's always the same response. It's almost word for word. The doctor's like, wow, this is incredible. This is near miracle. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's that phrase that the doctors always say when they don't have an answer for what you're doing, but they recognize that you're getting better. So they're going to acknowledge it because the blood don't lie, people. The blood don't lie. So
your family, they don't think you're crazy or what?
No, not anymore. Pardon me, not anymore. There is some religious connotations to what's going on because I would consider myself no longer a Catholic per se. I still have some. My personal religious beliefs are very, very mixed. And other than that, no, there really isn't anything. I sit down with my family. I sat down with them at Christmas dinner. I sat down with them at Thanksgiving dinner, and I just tell them, if I'm having an off day, because I've noticed that sometimes when I go to my parents' house, something still arises in me, something emotionally is going on there, and I believe it's simply because of the way I was raised and the way that I ate food growing up. But there are days when I will just sense like, I'm just not going to be here for this meal. And whether that's a holiday or not, my family understands that. And they support me in it. And your family will too, because your family loves you, It just is what is. What you're going to have to do, though, is you're going to have to set a pattern and stay to it, and then prove to the people that you love that, you know what, this is important to me. And if you love me, then you're going to accept this part of me. And that's all it is. I made a decision that I was going to surround myself with like-minded people. At the time, I didn't realize or understand the impact of that. But very clearly, it was not just raw fooders, but it was also these people that are going through many, many different types of diseases or have incredible, near miraculous stories about getting healed. And every one of them, it's tied to the food that they're eating. There is a couple of times that I have actually experienced and witnessed instant healings that have been incredible also. But it's not like I go running around talking to my friends, you know what I'm saying? Because that's a little too far out for a lot of people. But my throat was completely paralyzed, the right side of my tongue, my everything. And I got off the table after a guy did some Qigong and some pressure point stuff and some Reiki on me. And I was instantly, it was gone. And I was in so much pain because I hadn't used those muscles for between 6 and 8 weeks. And I just remember the intense amount of pain that I was in, because when I moved my tongue, you have no idea of the muscles in your tongue until you haven't used them for 6 to 8 weeks. Let me just put it to you that way. But yeah, socially, this is not accepted. And a lot of people still look at it as crazy and nuts. And, 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, it's closer to 3.5 years ago now, I had an intervention by my closest friends. And I was like, where's the crack, So, and I just couldn't believe it. But we're now friends again, by the way. At the time, it was really, I couldn't see where they were coming from. All I saw was somebody trying to take me off this incredible path that I'd found that I knew I was going to get healed from. And so I just disassociated myself from everything around me at that time. And to be honest with you, it's what I needed to do. So different people are in different places, And I was talking to a raw foodist named Mary. She's a chef, and she comes from the Midwest. And let me tell you, just cutting out steak was like, people were just like, huh, what? How can you do that? Are you going to live? It was that intense.
Yeah, if vegetarians have a problem, then raw foodists are just...
Oh, my God. Yeah, especially once you go into the whole non-cooked thing. Oh, my gosh. Yes, absolutely. And veganism is still, when I got into the truck, I had heard of organics, but did not know what it meant. I didn't know that organics were pesticide-free. I just knew you paid more for them, and I stayed away from it for that reason. Vegan, I had never heard of vegan. I had heard of vegetarian. I had never heard of vegan, ever. And raw, I was just like, who the hell wants to eat a raw steak? I don't. I want to cook it, So, most people in America still do not have a clue about what raw, organic, vegan is or what it's about. And it's a learning experience for all of us, But there is definitely social transitional changes that people need to make. And I just encourage you that if you're, and it's on a personal basis, but really, if what it takes for you is to not go into a restaurant for 2 years, then that's what it takes for you. But make that transitional change.
If it's not to talk to your family and friends, then...
especially if you're dying, like I was dying, literally dying. All the friends that I have now, I still see my old friends every now and then, but they're old friends, and I love them. But I don't go to the bar and grill with them and drink beer and chase tail anymore. I don't go with them to the over to the a Longhorn barbecue place and eat 50 ribs like we used to have these rib eating challenges, and I could down 50
Chasing
ribs.
tail. Why do they call it chasing tail?
It's just what we truck drivers call it, chasing tail.
Okay, so like pony.
Hey,
they use
T, how
pony
you doing?
too.
Yeah, they do use pony too.
It's like a tail or something. Whatever. Okay,
It's just a term.
Okay, I got another question. So you said you were Catholic, and then you didn't become. Then you were not Catholic. Did you go raw, and then you said no more Catholic, or was it before that?
No, it was. I should say I certainly was not a practicing Catholic, but I grew up as a Catholic. I was an altar boy, and so for a good portion of my life, I recognized things. So I thought I was always in sin, things like that. But no, clearly after I went raw, I experienced I experienced many different changes going on in me. And by the way, just because I'm raw doesn't mean you're not going to become a Christian. I know whole communities, Christian communities that are raw. I know of two. Let me rephrase. I know of two Christian communities that are raw, and they are fundamentalist Christians, and they are hardcore Christians. And they incorporate raw in, and they keep their focus on what their belief system is. I just experienced other things, and I now look from a religious point of view. I look at anything that brings us closer to God, if you will. And I say that, if you will, because my concept of God is probably very different than most people's. But I do believe in God, and I believe in a higher power, whatever you want to call it. But I also believe that there are so many people out there living the type of life that I used to live well before I went raw, and just bringing death and destruction and horrendous things to other people around them and to the world around them, and so unconscious that they just don't have a clue of what they're doing. That anything that brings us closer to God is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It just is not. I don't believe it is. So I don't believe that only Catholics are going to heaven, or only Christians are going to heaven, or only Jews are going to heaven, or only Muslims are going to heaven. I believe there's a shot for all of us to be with God in the direction that we're going. I really do. And I call it the living life force because I see it permeated throughout the foods that we eat. And then this living life force, as I call it, I believe that there are things in food that have not even been found yet through testing and all of the science and all that stuff. There are things in food that we don't even have a clue about yet. Creatine was just found out about 30 years ago, discovered. You know, there are so many different things out there. But really, if you look at Carillion photography, and this is interesting, Matt, because there's a big debate about the fact that Carillion photography is a bunch of crap because they use electricity to push everything through it. So if it has water in it, they're saying that is what is going to create the explosive electrical effect that you see, what I call the living life force. And if you take a look in David Wolf's book, Sun Food Success Diet System, I hope I'm saying it right, but if you look up Sun Food Success and then diet, you'll get it.
Yeah.
The book. This book is just phenomenal. Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay.
No. This book is just phenomenal with these Carillion photography photographs. And if you look in it, the one that has the most explosive stuff coming out is a speck of cacao powder. It's a speck of cacao powder, and it has the most whitest, most explosive, what I call living life force coming out of it.
Wow.
And it's powder, so there's no water in it, or there's very little. There's water in everything, I'm sure, atomic level or something. But there's no way that would be exploding out the most versus, say, an avocado, where it's just a thin blue hue that comes out, or a daffodil that it comes out a little bit. Those have much more water, or an apple. An apple comes out about 1/4 the amount of this one little speck of cacao powder. So I call things the living life force, and I believe that we're all connected some way, somehow. And I know there's different theories on that, and I don't profess to have a belief in what that is. I just know that we're all interconnected.
It's kind of like we're connected. There's you, and then there's more matter, space. There's still the same like energy molecules, and then it's me. So it's like we're kind of connected.
Yeah.
Like through this
very
energy.
much so. Yeah, very much so. I think you're real.
Like
oh, you could be a hologram. Holographic.
It's
universe.
like one picture right here. This is like one picture. It's all energy, but we're just like appearing out of nowhere. Where it's like we're all connected.
Yeah,
I'm connected to you right in there.
Yeah, we are. We're all connected together. Yes, very much so.
So I don't know. Maybe we should do another video with Teresa right now.
I think we should.
You down for that?
Are you down for it or not?
All right. So
cool.
Who do we got there?
We have Dave the Raw Food Trucker
and Matt Monarch, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at the Raw Food World with Teresa TV show.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again at the Raw Food World.